started April 23rd. This morning, armed with a tin hat and a guidebook, I arrived at Tel Aviv harbor. Looks pocket-sized, but there's a modern rhythm here. Might be Galveston or Jacksonville. It's good to walk along the docks at any harbor. That wonderful smell of citrus fruit, all crated for shipment. Tons of it. Palestine ranks second only to the United States in grapefruit production. According to the guidebook, 13 million cases a year and nearly half of it for export. That's a lot of vitamin C. About 1,500 other products are made in Palestine. Soap, potash, drugs, store teeth. Big export items, these. And coming in, hundreds of crates of machine tools to make more goods. More production for tomorrow. I used to cover the waterfront in the old days, but never saw stevedores who enjoyed themselves the way these boys do. But then I never saw stevedores who, like some of these, came to freedom from a displaced persons camp. Well, the first impression is good. You can tell a lot from your first few hours in a new town, and it usually sticks, too. Hard to believe that back in 1907, this was an ugly stretch of sand. No homes, no roads, no trees. A few years later, just a handful of villas. The Jews mixed a lot of sweat with the sand to do this job in 40 years. It's a well-run city now. Not just bustle and noisy traffic. A cultural and economic center for the Jews in Palestine, busy with a purpose. Symmetry of the city hall, white and well scrubbed like the city itself, is symbolic of the smooth functioning of government, clean democratic government. New streets, lined with trees and guarded by the spirits of great men. Old heroes of the evolution of freedom. And the spirit of freedom embodied in the free man walking down the streets. Yes, I know these people. They have the same look of freedom and sureness you see in Milwaukee or Phoenix or Seattle. I know the faces, but no names. I know the people, but not one person. I need a rendezvous, a Times Square. This might be it. Could be a New York newsstand. Familiar names on familiar covers. Now all I need is a familiar face. I know that man. Peppermint. Yes, sure, Hunt now. No, Kurt, that's it. Kurt Peppermint. I remember. 1939 in Frankfurt. Hid out in my room. Stormtroopers all over the place. Looks human today. Come a long way in 8 years. Just had time to say hello and meet his wife, Leah. Too bad I can't go with them, but things closed down here Friday evening, and I have a dispatch to file. So they went home to their baby. But I'll see them tomorrow at the beach. Joshua at Jericho or Archangel Gabriel blowing that horn? Just the Shabbat announcer calling quitting time in his own fashion. The old gentleman used to make his Friday rounds in a horse and wagon. In 30 years, he's become a city fixture. Faster tempo now. God's self-appointed watchman in a Ford V8 truck. Of the old Jewish city changing in a matter of minutes, as if someone somewhere had pulled a giant switch. Saturday morning, Shabbat, a day of rest, a time for prayer. Wonder what they say to God. What would I say had I been delivered from the valley of the shadow? How would I feel? Perhaps the way Kurt Peppermint feels and looks as he rides to the beach. He's changed a lot since those days in Frankfurt. The set of his shoulders is different, and the look in his eyes. Leah, his wife, things must be different for her, too, since she left her native Prague. Only for Danny, things are as they always were. Born in Tel Aviv, a Sabra, a native Palestinian. He speaks Hebrew the way I speak English. Never before has the old Mediterranean seen the mass rejuvenation of a people. I look at their bodies. Many I might have seen in the camps in Europe's stark twilight, now basking in the healing warmth of Palestine's sun. And there, sitting on top of the world, is my friend Danny, happy as a lark and twice as hungry. In Hebrew, corn on the cob is kiras kam. Tastes just as good in Hebrew as in English. The Hebrew word for wolf is zev. I wonder if that goes for these boys, too. April 25th. Tel Aviv begins this work week on Sunday. If you wander around the central bus depot, you can see most of Tel Aviv's working population pass by. Businessmen, industrial workers, white-collar workers. 60 million passengers ride each year on these buses, routed to all parts of the city and to many neighboring communities. A cooperative venture, the Urban Bus Company provides cheap and efficient transportation for everyone. In spite of martial law and curfews, the buses are rolling and timetables function. Come to think of it, I've been 2 days in Tel Aviv, and the only explosion I've heard so far has been the backfiring of a passing car. I hopped on one of the buses for the industrial section. Went into a factory yard, and the foreman came over and offered me a job. Labor shortage, despite the fact that the bulk of Tel Aviv's 200,000 population are industrial workers, employed in peaceful industries. April 26th. Went with Kurt this morning to the public school where he teaches arts and crafts. Kurt's sympathetic instruction and the daily contact with the well-adjusted Sabras goes a long way toward bringing these war-shocked refugee youngsters back to normalcy. In the farm communities of Palestine, they say that the children are the most important crop. In Tel Aviv, it's the same story. 53% of the municipal budget goes to education and health. Schools, hospitals, clinics, free lunches for the children, free medical care, social services of all kinds. April 27th, enrolled in Danny's nursery school today to see how the younger half of the Peppermint family lives. We were to go to something called a Gan Ha-Hayot. It turned out to be a zoo. A stork is a saknai. A monkey is a kuf. A giraffe is a nama hagamal. A zebra is a zus akat. All this Danny told me. The latest addition and star attraction is Bongo from the Congo. I left Danny with Bongo, the cops, and the Nama Hagamals to play woman's home companion to Leah Peppermint. Leah enjoys all the modern conveniences of a 20th century household, but no gas stove. So it's kerosene for cooking. But she can put up with this little hardship, for Leah is an active partner in the building of a brave new community by being just what she is, a housewife. No blue wash days here. The Palestinian sun has much to do with that. And no soap operas to while away the hours. But Mrs. Peppermint has a roof-side seat at a ballet. Or at least a ballet rehearsal. Palestinian grapes. Most of the food is Palestinian grown, fruits of the settlements which have pushed back the desert. Fresh foods in season, and canned too. On my shopping tour with Leah, I learned a new phrase which you hear everywhere. Totzeret ha'aretz, products of the country. Shopping over, it's time to pick up Danny, who has completed his lesson in zoology and is ready to wind up the day with a short course in ice cream. Off by a generous helping of fire engines. Curtis had a busy day. So has Danny. And now some of the busyness has to come off. The last time I spent an evening with Kurt, it was in Frankfurt. We sat in the dark. The blinds were drawn and we spoke in whispers. Tonight, Danny sleeps peacefully in his bed. And we listen to the Palestine Philharmonic. April 28th. This morning, a lesson in contrast. Visited Jaffa, the old Arab city bordering Tel Aviv. The exotic, romantic Orient, but no plumbing. the mystery of the East, but also dirt and fever. Cross a highway and you cross the gate in medieval feudalism and modern civilization. This town is a gold mine for sidewalk superintendents. Wherever you go in Tel Aviv, and I've covered the place pretty thoroughly, new roads and streets, new homes, new schools, the visible daily growth of the sinews of the city. Why, I've seen a whole new section of the city opened up just in the few days I've been here. Fast as the city grows, the need for more space, more housing facilities grows faster. Blueprints are translated floor by floor, room by room, into the everyday reality of living room, bedroom, and kitchen. Palestine must have 100,000 new living units for immigrants, discharged soldiers. New homes for families who only a short time ago knew nothing but the bleak drabness of DT barracks. Homes without barbed wire. April 29th, my last day with the Peppermints. They could have been the Smiths in Sioux City, the Gordons in Denver. In just this fashion, they are the Peppermints of Tel Aviv, citizens of a Jewish city. This is all they have, this Tel Aviv, this Palestine. They want to go on eating their breakfast, shopping, working, drying their clothes in the sun, taking their children to the zoo. And more than anything else, they want to go on building their country so that thousands of families like theirs, with children like Danny, still languishing in the DP camps, unsettled in Europe, can find a home in Palestine. If someday in the future you ask, "Who are you, Danny Pepperman, and where do you come from?" Danny will answer, "I am a Jew, and I come from Tel Aviv." This is Tel Aviv, his home, his city. A city working in peace. I could have left my tin hat at home.